when I ended up committing to Penn State, I committed because it was like one of the only schools I visited. I went to Penn State probably about 10 times before I committed. So I basically committed off emotion. And then to be real, like I never told anybody this.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Max Torres with Scoop Duck. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button. You can probably see from the title of this video that we got a big name to talk about, and that is Oregon wide receiver Dont'e Thornton from the Baltimore area. He is coming from Mount St. Joseph High School, and he is one of the best wide receivers in the entire country, coming in at number 7 on the 247 Sports Composite. He had 28 offers as a recruit, and he chose to come to Oregon after initially being committed to Penn State. He came out to Eugene to visit Oregon, clearly had something to think about after that visit, reopened his recruitment, and it looked like Oregon was the leader kind of from the jump there. Was he a silent commit, or did he have a lot of other schools that he was listening to? It's hard to answer questions like that unless you actually talk to the recruit, which is one of the reasons I wanted to make this video. He comes to Oregon as the second player from Baltimore, joining Damon David, the safety, who's also already on campus, one of 13 early enrollees for the Ducks here in 2021. When I talked to Damon about Dante, the two had played together in high school, against each other, I should say, and Damon described him as a 6'5" dude that can run. I'll make sure to link that video somewhere here on the screen if you want to check that out. I've been sitting on this video for a while, so sorry for the delay there. I filmed it before Jacob and I headed down to Phoenix to cover the Ducks in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. That was an awesome experience, but now that we're here in the off season, a little bit of a lull with content, although there's a lot of storylines coming out with the transfer portal. Like we had Tyler Shuck recently declare that he is going to be entering the transfer portal. I wanted to get this video up, and particularly with regards to Oregon, they've been getting a lot of big receivers lately. Looking at the 2021 class, you have Dante joining names like the dynamic Bay Area wideout Troy Franklin. You also have him alongside Mississippi native Isaiah Brevard from the traditional SEC footprint. So really a lot of big moves being made here by Mario Cristobal, as well as wide receiver coach Brian McClendon. So let's hop into this video. What do you say? Want to break down the recruitment of 2021 Oregon wide receiver Dont'e Thornton. I want to welcome in the next guest to the Scoop Duck YouTube channel. We're talking with big-time Oregon wide receiver commit Dont'e Thornton, coming out of the Baltimore area. Dante, man, thanks for being here. How are we doing today?
No problem. I'm doing good.
Right on, right on. Well, really, like I said, excited to have you on the channel. Been trying to for a bit, so thanks again. Want to start off here. You made your commitment to Oregon. Kind of going through your recruitment. I remember you were committed to Penn State for a second, went to visit Oregon, and then kind of took some time to rethink things. Just walk me through what your recruitment was like and why you ultimately landed on Oregon.
It was actually crazy because when I ended up committing to Penn State, I committed because it was like one of the only schools I visited. I went to Penn State probably about 10 times before I committed. So I basically committed off emotion. And then to be real, like I never told anybody this, but the reason I decommitted was because after my visit to Oregon, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna go at. I'm just gonna give it some time to really think about it. And then you can see I flipped and committed to Oregon. But yeah, the recruiting process was a long process. Because you got, especially once coaches actually could talk to us, there'll be coaches calling you every day, texting you every day. And then when COVID hit, they gave coaches more time to actually call and get on Zoom calls with you every day for however long they wanted to. So like at sometimes it'll be stressful and sometimes it was fun.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was definitely threw a wrench into things when they had the dead period going on and recruitment went virtual for the most part.
Right.
So yeah, it sounds like that Oregon visit was or the visits to Oregon, I should say, were pretty big. Tell me a little bit more about kind of what you liked specifically about Oregon. Did they kind of have a plan for you?
You saw like, so what I like about me coming in?
Yeah. What stood out and kind of made you sit back and be, hey, this is a place for me.
So Oregon is my dream school since I was about like 4 or 5. So like I never really thought I would actually go to Oregon, like in any form or fashion. And then to be able to go out there on a visit, it was like I was mind blown. Like you could ask my uncle and my coaches who went with me. Like from the whole time we landed there and driving to the facility, I just kept smiling because I was actually there. So once I got there, like I was mind blown. Like everything, it was what I thought it would be, but I just never thought I would actually be there.
Very cool. Definitely going to be a fun opportunity for you to, make that dream a reality. You guys in this 2021 bunch are scary talented. Want to talk about some of those guys. The entire class is inked now, so set in stone. I want to talk about your relationships with some of the other 2021 commits. I know you got Damon David out of the Baltimore area coming with you. Yeah, talk about him.
Yeah, we talk Scoop. We talk every day. Like he's been one of my best friends since like all the recruiting stuff, and I met him through football because I played against him last year, and he's one of the best DBs I played against. So I know he's good. And then like with most of the guys, we played a game a lot. Like me, Keith, and Seven, we played Call of Duty all the time together. So we're like best friends too. But I'm cool with everyone in the class though. I feel like we got a great chance to win a national championship with the team we had coming in.
That's super cool that you got the video games to keep you guys together. That's what I've even heard about coaches playing with recruits.
Yeah. I used to play with Coach Krause.
Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I brought Damon on the channel and he was saying, yeah, now that I'm committed, I got Dante, in the back of my mind, hoping he can join me. He's like, he's a 6'5" dude that can run. So I know he's got some respect for you. You guys have been going at it for a while. So, coming out of Baltimore, there's some phenomenal talent, coming from there and going to play, bigger college football. What's the Baltimore football scene like for people who don't know, and what was it like for you to grow up there and play?
For people that don't know, you wouldn't think there's a lot of people that are talented here because we're not like our football isn't really on a map other than St. Francis Academy. There's the only school in the Baltimore area that's really on a map. So when you think of Baltimore, you're not going to think about any of the small schools. Like my school, not to be cocky or anything, my school only blew up like that because of me and a few other players that were there. So it made us get on the map. But other than that, you're not going to think about any other schools there. And it's other than me, it's probably players that are better than me that's in the area. But you won't know because they don't go into the schools to get enough exposure for it.
Okay, yeah. So, kind of maybe paving the way a little bit. It seems like your play is going to kind of, set the scene for other people and put them on the map, like you were saying, which is always great. You want to see, more people following your footsteps and, more success for them.
Right.
When we're talking about these 2021 wideouts, yourself included, we saw you guys lose, or Kyron, decided to go to USC, but this is still a phenomenal group of receivers. We got yourself, Troy Franklin, and Isaiah Brevard. Talk about them and kind of what kind of skills you think you guys are bringing to this Ducks offense.
I feel like with Oregon losing the receivers that they might lose with like people that are seniors if they don't come back, I feel like all three of us have a great chance at coming in and getting a good amount of playing time, or at least some playing time in the mix of it. So I feel like with us, like we all have different skill sets, of course, but I feel like we can all play on the field at the same time if it need be.
I think one of the coolest things about you guys in particular is that we're seeing, much larger receivers come to Oregon, and we haven't really seen too much of that in years past. We've seen it, a little bit more recently this season. Kind of switching gears a little bit here. Want to talk about the Ducks play this year. Have you been able to tune into some Ducks games? We've seen guys like Devon Williams. Devon Williams has been big.
I look up to Devon.
Do you think you kind of see yourself in his shoes? What are your thoughts on this year's team?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Devon is one of the receivers that I look up to that in college football because we come from the same type of background, like growing up. So I really look up to him as like outside of football, like as a person. But when it comes to the field, I feel like I can fill in his spot from when he leave, and then when I get there, we both can play on the field at the same time. Yeah, I have been watching them play. They've been playing great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they do in the Fiesta Bowl coming up here. I'm actually going to be going out there to cover the game, so that'll be super fun. When I talk to so many of you guys, Oregon recruits in particular, and they just can't seem to find enough good things to say about this coaching staff. Just super genuine. Did you have a particularly strong relationship with any coach on the staff? Talk about what it's been like to get to know them.
Well, for most definitely Coach Cristobal. Like I would believe my strongest bond, well, the longest one probably with Coach Kraus because I talked to him the most. Because like I said, I played the game with him a lot. But in general, like Coach Cristobal, Coach Kraus, and Coach McClendon, because he was recruiting me when he was at South Carolina. So when he moved over to Oregon, that made it even more easier because we already had the relationship going. But I feel like I have a great relationship with the entire coaching staff for offense and defense. 'Cause I talk to them a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, that crossover with Coach McClendon definitely seems like it came in handy for them, and just ultimately making you a little bit more comfortable. Um, we talked about how you and Troy and Isaiah all kind of have different kind of skill sets, like you were saying. But when you were talking to the coaches, did they kind of go into any kind of detail about this is how we want to use you? We want to get you on the field early and anything like that?
Yeah. So they always talk about how they need people to come in so we could win deep and basically make plays down the field on deep passes and stuff like that, having that deep threat effect on the team. That's one of the
Okay.
main things they talk about with me.
Yeah, I know that your combination of size and speed is pretty unique. Is there anything in particular in your game that you feel like really sets you apart from other players? What makes your game special?
Me being able to play like different positions on the field, slide, outside receiver, you could line me up anywhere on the field at receiver, and I'll still be able to do good, especially when it's a mismatch.
Yeah, for sure. I know with your length at receiver, you can make some guys look pretty silly. But we're also kind of seeing longer DBs going to college football, or people are playing a kind of a hybrid role. How do you kind of see yourself matching up with maybe some of those defenders that are maybe a little bit more evenly matched with you at college?
Well, the way I feel with that is, well, like the best dog going to win when it comes to that type of fight. So regardless, I'm gonna go 100% every time or every chance, no matter who playing me. So it really doesn't matter if there's someone that's bigger than me, smaller than me. I'm still gonna go 100% the whole time.
Yeah, it just comes, it's like they say, stars don't matter when you get to college. It's just,
Exactly.
how you do when you step on the field. Um, Another thing that's been kind of, cool to follow with recruiting, that's what I love covering, is that you see these heavyweights like Alabama, Ohio State, and, Oregon's, entering that conversation now. They just get these phenomenal hauls of talent. And kind of where I'm going with this is, you're a high profile guy yourself. Troy certainly is up there, and Isaiah as well. What's it like for you, coming in with, guys that are this talented? Some people, thrive off the competition, and some people have, kind of different perspectives. Like, my playing time is going to be
But
threatened. How do you kind of wrap your head around that?
it makes me want to work harder because you know that I'm not just like, oh, I'm the best player on the team. I'm going to play. But no, it's people that's as good as me coming in with me. So it makes me. It makes, like you said, it's the challenge part of it. It gives me that competitive mindset where do I have to work to get what I want. It's not just gonna be given to me.
It's more of that good on good that Coach Cristobal always talks about, iron sharpening iron. So heard
Exactly.
it here, heard it here directly from a recruit that's kind of what the players want as well. Um, so what's cool with you is you mentioned how Oregon was your dream school for the longest time. It seems like
Yeah.
I feel like kind of once you took that step back from Penn State, it kind of seemed like Oregon was in the driver's seat. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but we
Yeah.
hear we hear talks of the silent commit. Was there anything ever like that with you? Was your decision made up before you really went and
Oh,
announced it?
yeah. So yeah, it was like that before I announced it, but it was still other schools in it. So like I didn't know if I was 100% sure locked in with it. But like when it came time, like right before I decommitted, I had like in my head like, oh yeah, I'm about to decommit and I'm gonna commit to Oregon. But as I decommitted, other schools came heavier. So like, dang, I'm just gonna wait my options out and see where the best place me. Like so then as time was going on, I talked to my family. They were like, regardless of where you go, we're gonna be with you. And they were like, so we need you to just pick what you feel is the best place for you to go in outside of football. So it was between my top two schools. It switched a lot because I had a list for 12 and then like 7 or something like that. But my
Mm.
top 2 or 3 schools rotated almost like every week. So like at times it would be the top 3 schools I had were Oregon, Arizona State, and Notre Dame, and that list would rotate over and over again based on how I felt about the different schools throughout the weeks. And that's how it was. Like it'd be at a point in time I feel like I'm gonna go to Arizona State. And then a time come back, all right, I'm back with Oregon. I'm locked in with Oregon. So once I actually like I'm 100% locked in with Oregon, that's when I started trying to figure out when I wanted to commit. And then around that same time, Damon had committed, which made me switch my commitment date from the All-American game to October the 20th, because we were talking about both going to Oregon together. Because when he got the offer, we would start talking a lot more about it. And so he ended up committing before me, and that just made me want to commit even more. So I moved my date up.
All right. That's awesome. Yeah, it's like we never get to see those stories or learn about them until after the fact. I'm curious. There, you mentioned Arizona State. We've kind of seen them emerge a little bit as they're trying to get things rolling a little bit on the recruiting trail. What was it like to be recruited by them? I mean, other schools have kind of mimicked Oregon in a way. Did you see any kind of overlaps? What was the comparison like?
With Arizona State, it was a lot on like the coaching staff, like with how they are in the NFL and stuff like that. And then on top of that, Coach Prentice, because he was at Oregon before that. That's when we started our relationship, and over time, the relationship has grown over. So like he's one of the main attractions to that school, because I talked to him so much. And then with the NFL pedigree that the team has from that entire coaching staff, that was another attraction.
I know McClendon's super connected, and he's well respected in the community as well. So that's certainly a factor that we're seeing with these recruits. Just got a couple more for you here, Dante. Don't want to take too much of your time. Looking ahead now. We know you're at Oregon, so don't need to focus on the recruiting anymore. But what are your goals? For the time that you're at Oregon? I know a lot of people want the Natty, but anything popping out to you individually?
I know for sure I want to get my degree. That's the main thing. I know football gonna handle itself, but I have to get my degree because football is. But the way I carry is NFL stands for not for long, so I had to have something to fall back on outside of football. So I know for sure I had to get my degree, for anything. And then, of course, when I get there, I want to play. If I can, I want to play a lot as a freshman, or even start as a freshman. I want to get on the field so I can make a name for myself early.
Saw guys like Micah Pittman start his freshman year, so maybe we could see something similar there. And then you talk about the degree, that's what a lot of these Oregon guys that I talk to, they hit on. They're like, that life after football, Oregon's really taking care of me, and it looks like they have a solid plan in place. If for whatever reason football, weren't to be there, so it seems like you're kind of right there with them, and you have your head wrapped around it. On that topic, do you have any kind of career interests outside of football, or any kind of major sound interesting?
Well, outside of football, I would say mechanical engineering.
All right. Yeah, mechanical engineering. Tell me what interests you about that.
So like growing up, I always was like in STEM programs and stuff like that. So that gave me like the idea of wanting to get into engineering. That's something I always talked about from when I was a little kid. Like I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. But then as time went on, I started thinking about sports management because I felt like even after football, I still want to like be involved with it. So I would think about something in the sports management category where though I would not playing anymore, but I still could be around it.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like you got some solid options. I definitely hear a lot of the sports management from other guys that I talk to still be in that arena of sports, probably football, but mechanical engineering that's a first for me that I haven't heard from some of these other guys. So that's super cool. Wish you the best of luck in that. I have a lot of engineering friends, and they got to work their tails off. Let me tell you. So now that you're committed to Oregon, we talked before, we hit record here. A lot of you guys are arriving early in Eugene. What's next for you? Do you know who you're rooming with? What can we expect from you in the future?
I do not know who I'm rooming with yet, but I'm cool I'm like friends with everybody, so I don't really care who I'm rooming with. But I just feel like once we get there, I'm ready to work. Like I'm locked in from the moment I get there to the moment I leave. Because I'm going there with a mission, not just to go have fun, but I'm going there to play football and get my degree.
Going to be on a mission, right on. So, just with that, looking at the future, when are you going to be in Eugene? Do you know just yet?
I get there the 10th.
January 10th?
Yeah.
All right. Joining that batch of early enrollees. Well, this has been a pleasure. I love ending with this question. with my interviews. Dante, Oregon's been a dream school for you. Finally going to make that dream come true. What message do you have to Oregon fans that are going to be rooting you on when Autzen Stadium's rocking on Saturday?
Hey man, I'm coming in and bringing a great impact to the team, and I'm show y'all that all that high school stuff that y'all seen, I could put it in effect in college.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm excited to see you once you get here in Eugene. I'm sure I'm going to be writing about you at some point here in the near future. Thanks again for taking the time, Dante. Wish you and your family the best. Stay safe, and we'll see you in Eugene before long. All right, that'll do it for another video here on the Scoop Duck YouTube channel. Want to give a big thanks to Dante for taking the time to talk to me. Hopefully he's getting settled in here in Eugene, getting used to that college life as we now eye spring football. It's February now, and it's kind of weird to think about. It feels like the Ducks just played in the Fiesta Bowl, but now we're eyeing spring football, hopefully around the March time frame. Hoping to have a little bit more of a traditional off season this time around with the pandemic still going. Wanted to take the time real quick to plug the podcast that I host with Jacob Archer, the Yellow Podcast. You can find that on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Our most recent episode is diving into the Tyler Shough transfer news. We're talking about our reactions to that as well as what it means for the future of the Oregon football program. Easily the biggest storyline we've had aside from recruiting and signing day here in the off season. So go on over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to check that out. Been a blast to get on the studio mics with Jacob and just, talk about Oregon football as well as other sports such as basketball. So go on over and check that out. If you liked this video, maybe stick around and check out some of the other videos that I've made with Oregon's program best recruiting class, the 2021 class. That is, I have interviews with just about half of the guys. So if you want to learn what they're like and what it was like for them to get recruited by Mario Cristobal and his staff to come to Oregon, maybe check that playlist out. That's all I have for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.